Hi, I'm Clara Rose, and this is Influence Matters, the show where each week I share tips, tricks, tools, resources, hacks, whatever you want to call them, to help the savvy influence builder just like you to strategically and intentionally cultivate their influence. Because we know that influence is how we organically generate leads for our business, ministry, cause, or brand. And that is why we're here. So thank you for joining me for another episode of Influence Matters. Of course, before we start, I always have to say thank you to some people who make this possible. So thank you to Rosedale Publishing. They specialize in business books for professionals and entrepreneurs. So if you have a book in your head and you're looking to get that published, please reach out to them. Thank you so much, Rosedale, for sponsoring our show. And of course, the fine folks over at Tampa Bay Multimedia and WeBeam TV, where we are today, for truly making this show possible. And of course, I love their holiday festive thing. We're celebrating Christmas over here. So much fun to be in the studio during this time. Okay, if you are a regular viewer, you know that I start each week with a viewer question of the week submitted by people just like you. But this week we have no question of the week. But why, Clara? Why, you ask? It's because we have a very special guest with us today. I'm super excited to tell you about her and to introduce her to you. Okay, so let me tell you about Valerie. Her name is Valerie Wilson, and she is a fiber artist. If you have no idea what that is, like I didn't, she's going to tell you. So welcome, Valerie.
Thank you.
So tell us,
pleasure to be here.
What is a fiber artist?
Well, some people call it art quilting. I sort of expanded beyond that to using all kinds of different media. So I'm using the term fiber artist.
Okay, so you don't just do quilts.
Not just quilt. Well, quilts, but also people think of quilts as just cotton layered with batting, but I add other materials as well, so it's more of a multimedia kind of thing.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, and you're doing actually portraits, pictures of people.
I do. Yeah. That's my specialty at the moment. I work from vintage photographs, black and white photographs, and then I capture the character in fabric.
Gotcha. And this was interesting when I got your bio, which I didn't really know about you, that you were the owner of an architectural antique business.
I adore old houses.
So you just like the old pictures and the old houses and the old stuff.
Yeah. And having lived in Winnipeg and owning a great big old house at the time, not being able to find anything I needed, I decided that I would start an architectural antiques business. So it was basically anything you needed for your old house, and we were specialists in that area.
So you would
find, it was a lot of fun.
You'd find and source it for people.
Exactly.
Very cool. So that's probably where you got a lot of the pictures and such for all the amazing work that I've seen that you do.
Yeah, some of them from there and some from other antique and secondhand stores.
Very cool. Well, Valerie is actually an award-winning fiber artist. She has won awards for her work. And actually, you can see behind her on the wall, there's a picture of a lady that is done in fabric. And that one's actually in your new book, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's Isabel.
That's Isabel. There. Okay. And Isabel...
I name them.
Of course you do. That's awesome. So is Isabel one of them that you entered somewhere and got an award for?
No, it isn't.
No? Okay.
No, it's been in a couple of exhibits, but it hasn't been in any shows where they'd be giving out awards.
Okay, but there are some places where you also are involved in the industry, right? So you're a part of the Fibre Art Network. So you're
Yes, I am.
a membership coordinator there, and then of course you joined the cooperative of professional Western Canadian fiber artists, and you're a juried member of the Studio Art Quilts Association.
Yeah,
Wow. So they need a shorter name, actually.
they do. They do. Yeah.
So, wow, I had no idea there were so many associations and organizations around this.
Yeah. Quilting is a huge industry. Tend to be at the end of art quilting, but yeah, it's a huge industry right now.
And how long have you been quilting?
Since about 2002.
So
and
that's
doing
not
art
very
quilts
long.
So since 2004. So
Okay. Well, I guess that doesn't sound all that long ago to me, but it's a while back. I've been doing it for a while.
it is a while. Yeah.
It's been a little while. So we're here today to talk about two things. One, your book, which is super exciting because your book is getting
It is very.
Yep. Any day, if not by today, it should be out any day. Well, we're really hoping that by any second it's going to drop. Your book's going to be live. So we're super
That would be
close.
wonderful. Yeah.
So tell us about why you wrote this book.
I've been doing portraits practically since I started doing art quilts, and I teach a full portraits class online and have a group on Facebook that's on fabric portraits. And a number of times I've been asked, do you have a book that I could refer to? And so I wanted to create something that would be a good introduction to portraits for people, because a lot of people are really afraid to even try it. So I thought if I could give them something that would give them some basics, that maybe they'd be a little less afraid and actually jump right in and try it.
So the interesting thing for me, because I have quilted some, but I always tend to do things I jump in with both feet and do things the hardest way possible. Just my nature, I guess. So I have done a couple of like small wall hanging quilts. I did a reverse applique. I've done 2 reverse appliques. I did one of those, I don't know what it's called, and you probably do, where it's a foam piece and you trace the pattern into it, and then you actually cut in the foam, and then you tuck the fabric down into those, and it creates a little quilt. So I did one of those. I've never pieced a quilt together, but because I did reverse applique, and then my very first quilt was like a small wall hanging quilt where I decided I was just going to freestyle it. Which,
Well, that works too,
I'm going to freestyle this.
That's the fun with art quilting. You can do whatever you want.
Yes, it was super fun. I did like the tree of life, right? And I did a bunch of colored leaves, and it's super fun. Was it, wow? I don't know. It's hanging on the wall, and it makes me happy. So I'm happy with it.
Well, that's good. That's the important part.
So when you said you wanted to do a book that was, it felt so technical, the making a portrait out of fabric felt so technical and so outside of my ability. So it was an exciting project for me to be a part of as your editor and as your publisher. That's been an exciting adventure for me. I have worked along with it for 2 reasons. One, to make sure that the instructions make sense to the beginner, because hello, beginner.
Very important.
But then also that, just in the process of helping to pull the book together. So I'm partway done with the quilt, and it's actually looking right. And so that's exciting to me.
That's the best moment. The best moment.
It's like, I don't suck at this. Because it looks scary, right? It looks like an overwhelming thing.
It looks very scary, and it really isn't. So
It's
that's
not.
why I'm trying to get people gradually into it, so they realize that it isn't so scary, and then maybe they'll attempt one of their own designs.
Yeah, and your book, you actually picked a pattern, right? So it's not like the advanced class. You picked a pattern for them to follow. So any special reason you picked her?
The advanced class, they pick their own photograph.
Okay.
And then they learn how to convert that, edit it in a photo program so that then they can make a pattern from it.
Okay.
And yeah, that's sort of a level up
Sure.
from being given a pattern and just working with that.
So I can't even imagine how difficult that must be. I love that you gave us a pattern to do this because I don't know that I could have figured that piece out.
Well, in the full course, I do take you step by step. So
Okay.
I hold your hand through that whole process, but
Okay. So
I don't leave you out there kind of doing your own thing.
figured it out for yourself. So tell me,
Yeah.
if you have never ever quilted before at all, is this a good first step?
Possibly, if you're adventurous at all.
If you're adventurous, I'm adventurous.
I think you need to have a little bit of confidence
Okay.
to try this. I've had beginner quilters who've taken my full portraits class, and that's a huge stretch. But yeah, I think they could do it.
They could do it. And so but this might be a good first step for somebody who's got some quilting knowledge, but
Yeah.
are curious about portraits.
Yes, very
Right?
definitely.
So this would be a really good first. I've seen them at like quilt shows before where I'm like, oh my gosh, how in the world did they, not people pictures, but like scenes of
Yeah.
things that actually looked like things. It's not just the pieces of the quilt, stitched
Yeah.
together. It actually looked like a scene. And I've always thought, gosh, I wonder how does they pull that off? But it's really about starting with
Yeah.
a picture, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everybody starts with a picture of some sort, and then it's going from there. And I've had a number of people who said they took the portraits class, and because they learned the technique for figuring out values, etc., then they're using that for landscapes and other things. So the skill does transfer over to other different kinds of things.
Absolutely. Oh, look, we get to see some here. Very cool. Very cool.
Like landscapes.
Like landscapes, yes. Which it's fascinating to me that you can create the depth that you can. So that was that learning that values that you teach
Yeah.
in the book. Super important. Super important. Now, somebody has already dabbled in. They can still get the book, of course, but they've already dabbled in it and they want more guidance. Tell us a little bit more about your course and how they can get involved in that.
I run the course about 4 times a year, and the next time will be starting in January. So if they go to my Kajabi website right at the moment, then they can sign up to get on the waiting list to get first notice of that. But it'll start about mid-January. And I usually do a free 5-day value challenge before that so that they can get a real in-depth look at values as well there.
Oh, nice idea. So they can go learn about the fabric values in a challenge. Is that a paid challenge?
No, it's a free
It's
challenge.
a free challenge. So they can take the free challenge and then coming out of that 5-day, probably have the confidence to say, okay, I can take that next step when the course
I think I know
opens.
what, because that's the problem for some people is they're not even sure what fabric they should use. And so we
Right.
talk about that in the challenge.
In the challenge. Oh, nice. Okay, so it's a good. So a good stepping stone maybe for someone who's a little bit newer is start with the book, right?
Yeah.
Get the book, and then it's coming out in plenty of time for Christmas, so you can also give it as a gift, which is lovely. Or you can gift it to yourself. Right? Say, I'm buying this for myself. And then in January, they can join the challenge, the 5-day challenge, and then the course will open where they can hop into the course and do the full digital course.
They want to go that extra step and really learn how they can do really their very own thing, working from their own photographs, and even how to choose a good photograph in the first place, because that's pretty critical.
Oh, yes. It sounds like there's much.
You don't
that
have
we
a good
don't know.
photograph, you're going to have problems.
Yes. Phew, it sounds like a lot to know. How long is the full course?
I give them 8 weeks,
Okay.
with me being directly involved for the 8 weeks. They have a lifetime access to the materials.
Okay.
So they can refer back anytime that they need to later on And usually they get the updates for that as well included. So I seem to be continually updating, learning an easier way of doing things, that kind of thing. Put that in there so they have access to that for the lifetime. But it's 8 weeks with me. And right at the moment, we're looking at creating an alumni group as well, so that people can continue on and get access to me as well.
Oh, very nice. So when you're like farther down the road in a more complicated project,
yeah, exactly.
you still have somebody to help you with this.
Can you take a look at this and see?
Right. Very cool. Plus, you also have some great resources on your website. So tell us what kinds of things we could learn on your blog.
I've got a number of blog posts about how to how to enlarge and print your photograph at home, because that can be rather an issue, especially right at the moment, if you can't just run out to the local printer. So that's really good. I've got, if somebody wants to look, I've got 9 steps to creating a fabric portrait. Some people like to know what all the steps are ahead of time, so that's a good resource. Trying to think what else I've got there. Talk about shading your portrait. Variety of other things on there.
Everything you could possibly need to know about creating a fabric portrait.
Yeah, and a lot more resources in the Fabric Faces group on Facebook too. One of your buds just fell out.
That happens.
What happened there?
It happens. So you already have aside from the alumni group, which you haven't created yet, but you're going to, you have a Facebook group for people to interact with each other, correct?
Yeah. They can post their work and get feedback from me and the other people in the group.
And is that a part of your, like a benefit to your course, or is it free for anyone?
It is a benefit to the course.
Okay,
yes.
so you have to
it's included.
Be in the course. Okay, but then once you're in the course, then you're forever in the Facebook group.
No, we do the 8 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I'm going to create the alumni group, is that anybody who feels they'd like more or they'd like to continue on with me, they could sign up for that as an additional kind of thing. Yeah.
That's good to know, because then when you're in the Facebook group, while you're going through the course, everyone else in the Facebook group is kind of where you're at.
Exactly.
Right. That's nice. So you then
because otherwise, newbies get sort of put off by people who are close to finishing their portraits, so they don't really realize all the, things they went through to get there, sort of thing.
Right. And if you don't,
if everybody's on the same page.
Yes, that's true. That makes perfect sense. That was a great idea.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to do this is interesting. We actually met because we both use Kajabi as a platform for our learning platform for our students or our clients. So what made you decide to do a digital course?
Because I had a lot of people who said, I really want to take your course, but the timing would be off, or the location wouldn't work.
Okay, so they were in person.
So, somebody's down in the States during the winter when that happened. So
they don't want to come to Canada.
But I was actually having physical courses. So I said, okay, well, why don't we try online? And what's fascinating is I have people from all over the world now. So it's really an international group.
So, and when did you first build your digital course? How long ago?
Be about 3 or 4 years ago.
So a while back. So you were totally ready for the crazy year of 2020 because you were already digital.
I was already digital, yeah. And I've added, beyond my big portraits class, I have another one just on the eye area of portraits and another one just on the mouth area of portraits for those people. Maybe done portraits, but that was the specific area they were having problems with.
It does seem like
I'm sort of adding in little mini courses along the way.
That does seem like a more difficult, as I go through the book for beginners, that does seem like a more difficult part, getting the eyes to look lifelike.
It can be, yeah.
Lots of good stuff in the book, though, about the stitching and the here's how you're going to make this look right. Lots of good stuff like that in there. But when you venture into trying to do your own portrait, I could see the need for a mini class on some of those things for sure. Now, do you ever do any one-on-one coaching or anything like that? Or are you mostly just digital programs?
I have done one-on-one.
Have you?
In the past, yeah.
And something that I know that you do, that because you just did it not very long ago, is you teach, right, for different quilting guilds and different organizations like that.
Yeah. I usually travel teach as well, but of course
Not
this year
not this
isn't
year.
happening.
Not this year.
But I've been doing other lectures that I would have given in person. I've been giving online and doing other courses. I have a variety of other courses that aren't portrait related as well.
Oh, see, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah,
What other kinds of classes do you offer?
One I call People in Nature. It's a twist on landscapes. So it's, the kids, your grandkids at the beach, something like that. So we've got a human figure, but it's very small, and you're just looking to have it look like a human kind of thing. Occasionally dogs,
Okay.
and those as well. And then I do another one on creating your own fabric, which is printing and stamping on fabric, which is a whole lot of fun.
Wow, you creative
Yeah.
soul, you.
And I'm looking at how I could do. In person, I was doing fabric dyeing too, but I haven't figured out with my studio exactly how I do that without dyeing a few things I didn't want to. So I have to work on that one. But yeah, there'll be different courses coming up online in the January.
Very, very cool. So, and one of the things, if you watched my show, or have heard me talk about my show at all, that we're all about influence, right? And what you've done is you've taken your passion, what you love to do, and you've turned it into a business where you can educate other people about what you do,
I love teaching.
right?
No matter what I've done, even when I had the old house revival company, which was the name of the architectural antiques company, I taught a course on what to do with your old house.
Of course you did.
Which was the basics on restoring your old house. And I taught how to recover lampshades, was another course I did at the time.
You're just a creative soul.
I just love teaching. It's the interaction with the students that is
Yes.
the big thing for me. That's
Yes.
the really fun part.
I, having done it myself for years, taught for years in lots of different areas, I love that moment where you see the light bulb come on, right? When
I finally got it. Yay.
yes,
Well, it's that feeling of, okay, I've actually done something right here.
Yes.
That they actually are
Success.
getting it. Especially if somebody's really struggling.
sure.
It's finding all those, what way exactly is it that I need to phrase this, or what do I need to show them that's going to help them get over that stumbling block? And that's a really creative part of it as well.
Yes. Well, obviously you're a creative, but the other piece, not all creatives are teachers, and not all teachers are creatives. So that's
Yeah, exactly.
an awesome combination where you get to help other people explore their own creativity and create really cool things that last forever. Very cool. Phew. Well, anything else you'd like for us to know about you and what it is that you do? Anything else you'd like to share? Buy the book. Go buy the book.
Yeah, buy the book.
Right.
That's a good one.
Go buy the book.
Well, I do have a waiting list I have some people who want the first word when it's out. So that might be
Okay, so if they
going out
wanted
soon.
to get on the waiting list so that they can get an email, where can they send that?
Either to my email, or they can go to my Kajabi site. There is a waiting list link there.
Okay, so just click on the
They go to
waiting
the
list.
store.
Okay, and that'll just get them on the list, and then you'll send it out the day
I
that
send
it
out as
goes
soon as the
live.
book is
Okay,
ready to go.
it's here, it's here. So we're holding our breath for any moment for that to be true. So it's a longer process than people realize to put a book out there, isn't it?
Yes, it's a fair amount of work.
But you've done it beautifully, and I'm
thank you.
super proud of the book that you've created. So, okay, I'm going to share her contact information on the screen really quick with you so you guys can see it. You can find her at Valerie Wilson Artist. If you Google her, you could probably find her too, but that will take you directly to her website, and then you can see all of the work that she does and That's super exciting. And then, of course, get on the waiting list so that you can get an email that says it's arrived, because right now it's still in the coming soon to Amazon or to your favorite bookstore, wherever you'd like. So appreciate you spending some time with me today, coming on the show. Some people are really nervous about it, but since you teach so much, this was probably a breeze for you.
And I do a lot of Facebook Lives as well. So
so there's another great benefit to being in the Facebook group, right? So that you can get more hands-on. It's always great to have access to the teacher, right? The instructor, to get those tidbits.
And that's one of the big things that the students say they really, really appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, my friend, thank you so much for being on the show today. I look forward to your book coming out, and I know all of my viewers are looking forward to it coming out as well. So I will see you soon. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you for this opportunity.
You're so welcome. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, my friends, wasn't she amazing? Phew, I had no idea, even though we've been working together for months pulling together this book. I had no idea what a creative, crafty person she was. I thought she just did the fabric portraits, but she does so much more. So if you are an artsy, crafty kind of person and you think, okay, maybe I'm not quite ready for the picture, right, the portrait quilt, I'm going to try something else, hop over to her site and see what else she has to offer. She has a nice, easy teaching style about her. And then, of course, we would love for you to grab a copy of her book when it first comes out. So get on the waiting list so you can get a copy. And then, of course, as we come into the holiday season, don't forget we will be here every Friday with some new and exciting thing for you, except the week of Christmas. We're going to stay home and spend time with our family and friends and loved ones. But thank you for your time and attention again every week, showing up, showing your love. And I am so pleased to be a part of your entrepreneurial journey and your journey towards creating strategically and intentionally, creating more influence for yourself. Just like Valerie did, you too could create some influence with digital products. If you want to know more, hop over to clararose.com and shoot me over a message or get on my calendar. We can talk about it. All right, my friends, we are out of time, and I will see you next week on Influence Matters.